I am Athalyah Yisrael, co-founder of Outliers Zone Caribbean.
What major or significant activity led to the birth of Outliers Zone Caribbean?
The major activity that led to the birth of Outliers Zone Caribbean was my money mismanagement. And every time I have to share this story, it always takes me back because it was at a place that I had moved from employment to being my own boss and starting a fun park rentals, that is Fun Park Rentals, which started in 2014. It was doing so well. Parents were renting the bouncy castles and the trampolines for their children's birthday party. And then as the money came in, I was sending it out as fast as it came. So what happened is that I found myself in a deep hole of making money and spending money. So that was the cycle that I was in. And I have a supportive husband who would always give me a little nudge to say, no, you need to do better with your money. Didn't you just had 3 rentals? What happened? And the going back and forth with him, he would encourage me to learn how to manage my money better. Being in several debts, he would pay it off, and I think everything changed. The game changer was when he said that he is no longer paying off my debts. And it was that point I was looking for a solution, looking for help. And as I recognized, I went back to my nursery education, primary, secondary, and even tertiary. No one ever taught me how to manage or grow my income. Did anyone ever teach you how to do that? Apart from your parents, maybe. So that is when I recognized that it's not being taught, but yet we are expected to become adults who have to manage an income, pay bills, and still have money to save and invest. And these are the concepts that were really foreign to me as a foreign language. And as I began looking for a solution, learning on my own, investing in programs that will help me to take control of my financial future, and the things that I've learned with the support of my husband, I was able to craft a solution to the paycheck to paycheck lifestyle, and more so just move from that level, because the first level is financial literacy, but the next level is that I didn't want this legacy to be passed on to my children. So the next level was, how do we create a legacy of wealth? And that's what birthed Outliers Zone Caribbean, because I recognized there was a big gap in Guyana and the Caribbean with wealth creation education. So when the stuff worked for me, I began testing it in 2018 on a few of my friends, and they were able to move from 1 stream of income to 4 in a short amount of time. So from 2018, when we launched Outliers Zone, to present, we've been able to train over 3,200 individuals in how do you create a legacy of wealth.
So what does Outliers mean, and why Outliers Zone?
Thank you for that question. Outliers. If you've never heard it before, an outlier basically is a person who's unique, whereby when 90% of the world is heading towards the right, the outlier will go the path least traveled. And why we chose Outliers Zone Caribbean, and I want to give kudos to Lisa May Agard, who was the one who suggested, based on what you're doing, because she was one of our success stories in the beginning, she said, I think you should name it, have something to do with outliers. And an outlier is someone who is committed to building wealth for their children, their grandchildren, and their great-grandchildren. So at Outliers Zone Caribbean is where you come, because you would like to create a legacy of wealth for your generation. And more importantly, we are a fire coaching company, and the foundation of everything we do is fire. Are you familiar with that as well? It's financial independence, retire early.
What significant changes were noted from since you started Outliers Zone to present?
When I started Outliers Zone, when my husband and I, we came together and we founded Outliers Zone Caribbean in 2018, there were not many persons talking about money, talking about financial literacy, talking about wealth creation education. And as we started, we recognized that if you know Matthew Gall, he came on board. I know Miss Guyana Universe, she has launched a campaign. So it's something that since we started in 2018, we see other persons coming on board. And what separates us though, we recognize that financial literacy is like level 1. It's just like if you can't read, but then you learn to read, but that doesn't make you a scholar. Therefore, we know that you need to first learn what the money is, the assets and all of that. But the next level is how do you invest? How do you generate ideas that can build wealth? So that's where we are in terms of our niche being FIRE, helping individuals to create a 10-year financial exit plan. And when we say exit plan, what are we talking about? You may be employed or you have a business, but what is your exit plan? Is it just until you reach to retirement, age 65, or debt? So this exit plan is something that you invest in within a span of 10 years so you can exit mandatory employment and you could actually have something working for you at the end of that 10 years. So that's the training that we now provide. We do work with companies who call us in to do financial wellness for their employees, like money management training. And also companies call us in to do retirement planning. Their staff who are going off 5 years or 10 years away from retirement, they call us in to do, help them prepare themselves in terms of what are they going to do with their lives after their work, and also entrepreneurship, because it's not the end of their lives, but they can use their skill to do some form of earning. So those are the two solutions we provide to companies: financial wellness for their employees and retirement planning.
What have the responses been like? Are persons coming out to say honestly that they or persons they know have struggles managing their finances and are actively looking to turn that around?
What I can say, starting out, it was a challenge. It was a bit disheartening, because what we found is that when we found people who were saying, yes, I live from paycheck to paycheck, but then because they live from paycheck to paycheck, they did not have the resources to pay to learn of a solution. And it's not even that they didn't have the resources, it's that because of their mismanagement, they could not procure those funds to invest in themselves. However, we have pivoted a lot, and having companies who sponsor us to come in and actually talk to their employees, they're benefiting the companies, because then they have less salary advances that they have to provide for their staff, etc. So that's what we have seen. But yes, we do have companies reaching out to us saying, you need to help us, Athalyah. When our staff get paid first week, all the fast food, churches, KFC, that's their lunch. He said by the next week, biscuit, jam. And then by the other week, it's about they're asking for salary advances. So he definitely have noticed, and many other companies would have said, because especially if they have a young staff makeup like under 40, definitely we have been called in, and we do introductory sessions to help persons to understand, because what happens is that a lot of times people don't even have a goal that they're working towards, a financial goal. So because they don't have a goal, money in, money out. But when we're able to have them to seriously consider where they are, where they want to go financially, and how can they use their salary as a tool towards building wealth, that's the game changer.
A lot of persons from time to time would talk about their parents not being able to pass down some kind of wealth to them, and they themselves have to work extra hard to be able to create something, and with the intention that they succeed to pass down to future generations. How has it been working with persons to create this generational wealth to which we often hear persons talking about?
Just exactly what you said there, because a number of persons have not had that inheritance gifted to them. This in itself is a seed for them to not want that to be the legacy of their children. So it's a very motivating factor for persons who come to us and like, listen, I didn't get any inheritance to start life, but that will not be the legacy of my children. I want to generate wealth. And let me just break down. When we're talking about wealth, we're talking about things that you have that work for you, that you don't have to work. So in terms of assets, and having assets that generate income for you, so that if you're out of the picture, your children will still be taken care of. So therefore, the whole idea is persons are very eager to want to create a legacy of wealth to give their children that start, because they really feel, and you would agree, if I had a start in life with a business or something, I think my life would have been different. And they are very eager to provide that start for their children.
Well, we see here you have quite a task having to teach people about breaking free from their generational curses and how to retire early. What are some of the challenges that you face in your business as it relates to educating persons to become better and to implement these teachings? And how did you overcome said challenges?
Well, the thing is, what we're doing, we recognize that we're going up a lot against a lot of things. Let me break it down. At this time, we're heading into December. There's so many promotions. There's so many things that are competing for your money and your mind. As you're on social media and you're scrolling this ad, that ad, and all of these things, they're not only competing for your attention, your time, but your money. So when we position ourselves in a place where there's people want to buy curtains, they want to buy new curtains for their home, they want a new fridge, and at this time too, when some of them are getting a bonus, the knowledge of what to do with that so that their 2024 will be better off is why, one, we know what we have to do, but like I said, it's a challenge because we're competing with so much. However, we persist with our education. Oftentimes, the media would call us into, how would you advise persons during this time to use the money that they have now to set themselves up? So we continue to have that constant voice to keep in your ear about, how are you spending your money? How are you investing? And we must continue to be persistent. And that's just, I would say, it's a challenge, I know, because if you go on the radio or you listen to it on the radio now, you hear this party, that party, and it's a whole lot of stuff that if you don't have a vision for your family and a goal, you will be caught up in the distraction.
A lot of people struggle with having finances, and as soon as they have it, a lot of activities or things that they can purchase are popping up, and as soon as they're broke, they become the wisest. Help us to understand how can we avoid this, particularly as we're approaching the Christmas season, and how can Outliers Zone Caribbean help us to make wise, informed decisions?
We do believe that a vision, you see, without a vision, people perish. If you're looking and you don't have a vision for your life as to where you are going in the next, specifically, let's just say 10 years. If you don't have a vision, anything will get you there. For example, if you go in a taxi and you just have them driving, you just going here, there, everywhere, you don't know where you're going, The taxi could be right there, but then he can say, you have to pay me. Never mind, you didn't go anywhere because you were in my car. A vision is what channels your focus. Because when you sit and you say, I am committed to building a legacy of wealth within the next 10 years. It means that you will only be doing things that will take you closer to that goal. Your vision will inform who you want to associate with. Because if you have friends who are into the partying and all of that is fine, but then if they are your closest friend and they don't have that common vision and goal, they're going to be distracting you. So I would say the one thing that helped me in my beginning of my journey was to get a vision. And I painted the vision so clear because, like my husband said, if you don't get this money thing right, you will be the downfall of our generation. And like, to me, like, it was a red light that went on. Like, I did not want to be that influence on my children. So creating that vision of designing a legacy of wealth and taking the steps that will get me to that. So if it says that I have some income and I have the opportunity to invest it or spend it, I will be able to say, okay, where can I send it so that this money can come back to me more? So it's a vision.
So besides persons that are looking to retire early, do you also work with children to help them manage their finances from an early age?
Great. So I'm glad you asked that. So retiring early is something that we stay away from because retirement is a very sensitive topic that persons have been misled. Because oftentimes when I ask a person, when do you want to retire? Some of them, I never ever want to retire. I want to work until I die. Some of them, oh, I'm too young for that. So when we're talking about, we don't use that, we say a financial exit plan. Do you want to exit employment in the next 5 to 10 years? And when I say exit, it means that you're focusing on something that will work for you. My person's like, oh yes, I don't have to be 40 and 50. I could do that. Let's do that now. Let's start working on it. So that's it. We're talking about a financial exit plan. FIRE. Now, do we work with children? Yes. One of the arms that is a very passion of mine, and even where we take the company, is because I recognize that in the schools, like, can you think about it, Marian? If you were taught about growing income and becoming an entrepreneur in nursery school or primary school, what difference would that have made in your life?
I wouldn't have been here.
That is why we started, or we brought to Guyana, International Teach a Child to Save. It's TACTS, TACTS, Teach a Child to Save. And although it says save, we focus heavily on teaching children about investing, because there's only 2 ways that you can build wealth. It's either inherited or you have to invest. There's no other way. So the Teach a Child to Save school campaign involved us going into schools and teaching children about where do we get money from. And oftentimes when we're in front of the assembly and we ask them, they say, we get it from the bank. It's like, okay, so how do you think it goes to the bank? My mommy takes her card, pushes in, and then money comes out. So that's all they see. And then we get to, okay, you have to earn money. You have to earn money. You can start a business. And we go through from the simplest things. We talk to them like, do you have mangoes in your yard? Yes, miss. If you sell those mangoes, who will be your boss? And you could almost see the excitement that, miss, I will be my boss. Good. And you can start there. So we have seen great success because since we started in 2019 with the Teach a Child to Save annual school tour, we've been to Linden, Berbice, Essequibo, and did a lot of work in Georgetown. So it's about 14,000 plus students we've been able to plant those seeds of, I can build wealth from a child. I can start a business from a child. So that is an area that we continue to plant seeds as well.
I'm very happy that in your family training and consideration, you're not only focusing on women and children, but you've also included a component that focuses on men. Tell us a bit about your Men on Fire workshop coming up.
Wow, this is one of my most exciting vision that I had, and I can't take full credit for it because it was actually Mr. Israel. He planted the seed in my mind. After completed, we had a booking for a Women Empowerment Summit. So we had to teach the principles of how to empower women and their finances. That evening when my husband picked me up, he said, would families be better off if men were financially secured and they had more resources? It was then I was like, whoa, like it's like he just dropped the mic. And I'm like, that is so true, because in families where we have the man being the breadwinner, he needs help sometimes. Like, you know, of course, most women, including myself, I would just love to go shopping, you know, take care of the kids. But that is not the reality for most persons out there. Therefore, they want to help their husband. They want to, you know, raise the bar in their families. So then both parties are working. And as I look around society, and you will agree as well, there are a lot of empowerment for women and workshop and funding and all of these activities. But what about our men? That is why this year we've started our Men on Fire, and it's helping men design their 10-year financial exit plan. And it focuses in 3 areas, because at Outliers Zone Caribbean, we always have a holistic family approach to building wealth. Because a woman alone trying to build wealth, a man alone, the family. So the 3 areas is the man's family, his fitness, because you know how men are. You know how you are, Marlon. Y'all don't like to go and get physicals. Y'all don't like to go into the doctors and all of these things. So it's the family, the fitness, and finance. So those are the 3 areas that we have a one-day program that is tailored to the men, putting themselves first, because they serve everyone. But this is just a day for the men to design their 10-year financial exit plan and just put their vision on paper, because a woman is supposed to be a helpmeet to a man. But if a man don't have a vision, what is she helping you to do? So it really benefits the family when the man has a clear vision, a financial vision, and they are working together to reach that vision as a family.
So when is this workshop scheduled for, and how can persons connect with Outliers Zone?
So as I mentioned before, this is an exclusively men event. This is happening on the 26th of November, a couple days from now, at the Regency Suite. It's 10 to 4 p.m. And the investment to help you design that 10-year financial exit plan, which would not, if you want to avoid just working 40 years and then just get into a pension, then the investment is only $29.99. And to get your ticket, it's 617-0173, 617-0173 to get your ticket to be in the room.
Is there any other information you would like to share for our viewers, or you think you would want persons to know about Outliers Zone Caribbean?
Well, first I would say, if anything that I said resonate with you, that spark something within you to want to build a legacy of wealth for your family, not just for you, I would first encourage you to follow Outliers Zone Caribbean, OUTLIERS Zone Caribbean. We're on Facebook. If you're on Instagram, if you're like me, like TikTok, we're on TikTok as well, and we drop a lot of gold there that you could just listen and like, I could do this, I could apply this right away. So that's the first thing I would say, you know, follow us. And then, you know, secondly, I would say, if you're a part of an organization and you have a team that, you know, the holidays is coming up and they will be spending and spending and spending, you could always call us in to do a quick introductory money management session to get them ready for 2024. And I would just say, get started on what is your vision for your life and what the vision you want for your family. Because financial independence in 10 years is not for a selected few. It is for those who choose. So if this is something that you're choosing to, you could go down the 90% and work 40 years and get a pension. That is okay. However, if you want to be the outlier and go to the path least travel and do it in 10 years of committed focus, then you can contact us at Outliers Zone.